Hi, and welcome to this week's lesson. This week's lesson is on adding fractions. As you can see here, this is what we're going to learn to do today. We're going to learn to add fractions with different denominators, okay? And when you hear me talking about adding fractions, you're going to hear me saying a few different types of words, so we're going to go through them. We're going to go through this thing, which is the top one, and the top number is called the numerator. And the bottom one here, that's called the denominator, okay? So just remember, if you want to go back because you forget once I'm talking, you can pause it, go back to the start and have a look. The numerator is on top, the denominator is on the bottom. Okay, let's get started. Okay, when you're adding fractions with the same denominators down the bottom, you can just plus the tops together and then add them together. It's pretty easy. So if you can see here that the 4 and the denominators are the same, then you don't have to change anything else around. You just have to add the top two, which is you add the 2 and the 1, and then you write the answer, which is 3. You keep the denominators the same, and your answer is 3/4. The reason this makes sense is because if you had a cake, 2 cakes, and on this cake you had 1/4, and on this part you had 2/4, if you added them both together, you would have 3/4. So that's why this question makes sense. That's why we don't need to change the denominators. However, if you get to a question where you don't have the same denominators, like this question here, okay, you're going to need to find a common denominator, which is you're going to need to change these numbers so that they can both be the same. Okay, so the way we do that is by, if you know your times tables or if you know how to skip count, that's how we do it. Alright, so we're going to leave the 4 at the moment and we're going to see if we can just change the 2. That makes sense. Alright, so if I was going to skip count by 2, I would go 2, 4. Alright, I can stop there because I can see now that these both have the same denominator, so I can stop there. Now you need to make sure that with the number here, when you're changing it to change the denominator, whatever you do to the bottom number, you need to do to the top number as well. So I went for 2, 4. How many times did I have to times 2 by to get to 4? Hopefully you could know the answer is 2, because 2 times 2 equals 4. So I times the bottom by 2, so now the top part I need to times that by 2. So 1 times 2 equals 2. Now that they're both the same, I can plus them together. So 1 over 4 and 2 over 4 should be 3 over 4. So that's another answer, which is also 3/4. Hopefully you understood that. We're going to go through a few more questions, so hopefully you understood that. If you didn't understand it, you can pause it and go back and watch this again, or you can just keep watching and then hopefully you'll understand the next one. Alright, this one's quite a little bit trickier, so let's have a look if we can do it. Okay, so we have this number here, which is 1 over 9. And we have this number here, which is 10 over 45. Now, chances are we can leave the 45 the same and just change the 9 to try to get a common denominator. Let's hope that this 9 will end up being a multiple of 45. Let's see how we go. Alright, so hopefully you know how to skip count by 9s. We go 9, 18, 27, 36, 45. Well, there you go. It did make sense. So now we've got the 45, we know they're both the same number. Now we just have to figure out what to do with this number over here. What do we do? So one of the ways you can do it is you can say 9 times what would equal 45. If you don't know that, if you find that a bit confusing, what you could do is you can just count the numbers, how many times you use the numbers down, and that will also give you the same number. So let's have a look. So there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So I times 9 by 5 to get to 45. So whatever I do to the bottom, I have to do to the top. So 1 times, how many times did I say I did it? Yeah, that's right, it was 5. So 1 times 5 equals 5. So now this answer over here is 5 over 45. And this one over here is 10 over 45. So now I'm just going to plus them together. So 5 plus 10 is 15 over 45. Okay? Like I said before, if you didn't understand this question and you found it a bit difficult, you might want to go back and have a quick look at this now before we move on. Or if you don't want to, you can just keep going. But once again, if you get it to the end and you don't understand it, go back and watch the video again and hopefully you'll get it next time. Alright, now, okay, I'm going to give you a question. And when I give you the question, I want you to pause the video, okay, when you're ready to answer it. Because I'm going to go through the answer, but I want you to solve it yourself before you decide to before we decide to go through it. So I'm going to ask that everyone pause the video now, because as soon as you press play, I'm going to go through your answer, okay? So press pause now. Okay, hopefully you've gone away and you've solved it, and now you're ready to have a look to see if you've got the same answer as what I got. All right, let's go through it. So hopefully you realize that this 15 here you probably don't have to change, but we have to change this side to try and make them both the same denominator. All right, let's see what I can do here. All right, let's count by fives. 5, 10, 15. Oh, there you go. I can already stop because they already have the same denominator. So now whatever I do to the bottom, I have to do to the top to this number. So I'm going to count how many times I counted by 5. I counted once, twice, 3 times. So I must have times it by 3. So now I'm going to times the top by 3, which is 2 times 3, which equals 6. So now I've got 6 over 15 plus 8 over 15 plus the 6 and the 8. You should have ended up with 14 over 15. If you didn't end up with that number, that's okay. What I want you to do is try and see whereabouts you went wrong and see if you can fix it for the next question we're up to. Okay, if you have no real idea at the moment and you're getting confused, that's okay as well. All right. Next question. All right. Once again, I'm going to ask you to pause your video now so I can go through it, and then when you're finished, come back and we'll go through it. Okay. Thank you. So let's have a look. I've got 2 over 6 plus 12 over 24. They don't have the same denominator, so I need to find a common number that they can both turn into. So I'm going to try to change my 6. So hopefully you know how to count by 6s. So I'm going to go 6, 12, 18, 24. There we go. I found it. So how many times did I times it by? Once, twice, 3, 4. So I times the 6 by 4, so I need to times the top by 4. 2 times 4 equals 8. So it's 8 over 24 plus 12 over 24, plus them both together. Your answer that you should have gotten should have been 20 over 24. If you got that right, you're doing excellent. All right, let's try. Now, what I said with this question is that they're going to get a little bit trickier. All right, but what I want you to do is I want you to give it a go. If you don't know it, that's okay. If you do know it, I think it's good to try to push yourself a bit further. So we'll see how you go. All right, pause it now. All right, excellent. So let's see how this one goes. Bit tricky, right? Hopefully you know how to count by 4s, otherwise you might have a tough time with this. There's a few ways you could do it. If you know in your head that I know that 4 times something equals 48, you can just write it down straight away. So I know in my times tables that just 4 times 12, equals 48. I just know that. But if you didn't know that, that's okay. You can just skip count. 4, 8, 12, 16, 20, 24, 28, 32, 36, 40, 44, 48. Okay, let's see how many times I did it. Once, twice, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. That was 12 times. So I need to times the top by 12. So 3 times 12. That might be tricky for you. You might not know, but I think you would all know your 3 times tables. So 3 times 12 is 36. Okay? Now I'm going to try 36 over, 48. So 36 plus 10 is 46 over 48. How'd you go with that one? All right? Yep. All right, we'll try one more. This is the last one I'm going to give you. All right. Now, you can pause it and have a go at it, and then we'll go through 2 different ways you could do it. All right? Pause it now. Okay. So, obviously, you can just go this way and say that I know that to get from 3 to 30, I need to do something. You can go 3, 6, 9, 12, 15, 18, 21, 24, 27, 30, and then go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. I times it by 10, times the top by 10. That equals 10 over 30. Plus them both together, and the answer is 30 over 30. Okay? Or, the other way that we talked about in class is if you have 20 over 30 and then 1 over 3, you can just add a 0 on the top and add a 0 on the bottom. Because whatever you do to the top, you can also do to the bottom. So I've added 1 to the top and 1 to the bottom, or the same being said, you can cross them out as well. So that's a lot easier. They're the same denominator now. plus the top together and the bottom together, and it equals 30 over 30. Now make sure if you ever have a question where it's 30 over 30 or 4 over 4 or anything like that, you also can write 30 over 30, which equals 1 whole. Okay, because remember, if it's the same as 30, if you had 30 pieces of cake and then you had all 30 of them, you would have a whole cake. Alright, so hopefully a little bit easier for you. Here are some points to remember when you go through this again. Okay, ready? If you have the same, look at that spelling mistake. That's bad. I should maybe fix that up. Ready? If you have the same denominator, you can just plus the numerators. So, like we talked about before, if you have 4 over 5 plus 1 over 5, and they're already the same, you can just plus the top. But if they're different, you need to find a number they can both multiply by. Alright? And the last thing is, whatever you do to the bottom number, you have to do to the top number. Okay? That's pretty much it for the video. What I might do is might write up some more questions on the last page. So if you want to have a go on them, you can. But if you want to stop here, that's also fine. Alright, so let's try and end on some other ones. Okay, ready? Okay, so here they are. So if you want to press pause, solve all these, and then when you press play again, all the right answers will be up there, okay? Pause it now. Alright, so here are the right answers. Let's see how you went, alright? Okay, the first one, they both needed to find a common multiple. So I just started skip counting here. I went 4, 8, 12. This one I went 3, 6, 9, 12. I knew this one I times by 1, 2, 3. Needed to times the top by 3. 2 times 3 is 6. This one went 3, 6, 9, 12. I need to times it by 4. So I times the top one by 4. 6 plus 4 equals 10 over 12. Okay? Bottom one, I didn't have to do anything. I just put the zeros on those two numbers, the numerator and the denominator. And then the denominators were the same, so I just passed the top ones, which equaled 40 over 40, or 1 whole. The last one was actually quite tricky. I started trying to skip count by 25, so I went 25, 50, 75, 100. I knew that I had to do it 4 times, because it's 1, 2, 3, 4, so I times the top by 4. 14 times 4 was 52, and 52 plus 40 is 92 over 100. If you got this one right, you are doing amazingly. Alright, thanks for listening to the video. And if you have any questions, you can ask me in class.